you find yourself lost in Irvingland.
For thousands of years, since the first dawn of knowledge, man has known that there was another parallel world close by his own. A world somehow like ours, but of incredible darkness and fear. It has been called many different names by many different cultures, but the shadowy legend of his dark mirror world persisted in the minds of men over the ages.
The book goes on to talk about man's fear that somehow inhabitants of that other realm will figure out how to cross over, but before he can go any further, Smith writes the whole business off and convinces Will to go get him a pillow. He needs a nap. Because what else is new? A week or so before they blasted off, Will pilfered that book from the Hogwarts library.
Hustle along, William. The constant riffling of pages is hardly conducive to my quiet time. Besides, that ridiculous book will just clutter your mind with nonsensical nonsense.
It'll destroy your brain cells to the point where nonsensical nonsense is the best insult you can come up with. No, it's going to take us to that shadow realm and introduce us to a couple of its inhabitants.
An atomizing unit. We'll need an atomizing unit. And if it could reach sufficient power.
Then we'll find our opposites. Force them to come back here. And we'll be free.
No, not you. Not this time. Mine's closest. I can feel it.
Let's take a moment to ask him why he's wearing that slave collar.
If we cannot balance the energy intake with the atomizing unit, how are we ever going to get back into flight?
By studying the problem, I may be able to supply knowledge needed to construct a duplicate of the missing section.
It's all yours.
He said they need a what kind of unit? Our crew just happened to have one right there. The robot can't do his calculations with Smith constantly making rackets, so John sends him away.
Thank you, Professor Robinson. Now we can proceed with the most critical stage, the clearing of the chamber exhaust. But I cannot recommend that it be attempted.
It's got to be done.
The fuel temperature equalization is highly delicate procedure. These units are still in a dangerously unstabilized condition.
I know, but it's a chance we'll have to take if we're ever going to get these motors repaired.
Very well.
The part I caught was, yeah, it's necessary, but don't do it. He'll do it.
Activate.
Should he be standing in the big fat middle of it like that?
Right, give me a temperature reading.
265. 300.
I'm gonna say no, he should not be standing in the big fat middle of it like that.
Over here. Professor Robinson, where are you? Where are you, Professor Robinson?
And now he's not standing in the big fat middle of it like that. While the robot goes into a panic, John is trying to figure out where he is standing. More precisely, where he's face planting. Suddenly, storms are raging in both worlds. We'll learn later that it's because the two worlds are out of balance with both of them in one.
He's your duplicate, all right. When do we get mine?
Soon.
I still don't think it's going to work.
It must work. We've been prisoners here far too long.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
But now he's going to change clothes with John and escape into our world. Then he'll trap Don and they'll both be free.
You know, maybe Don was right. Maybe if we recreated the same situation as when Dad disappeared.
I do not believe that would bring your father back.
No, but it might send us to him.
The robot objects that it's too dangerous, as if that's ever done any good.
We are nowhere. This place does not exist anywhere, in time or space.
But we're here. We have to be somewhere.
We are between any number of dimensions.
Fortunately, that steam bridge they're on will take them to a portal into the dimension where John is. He has a massive scar on his neck from centuries of wearing that collar, yet he just took it off and put it on the other John, so I figure by the time he learned how to remove it, it had become a fashion accessory and he only discovered later what it did to his skin. But hey, that's what turtlenecks are for, right?
Dad! Boy, am I glad to see you.
And I'm very glad to see you.
Whoever you are, now let's get out of here. The robot is trying to explain that when John disappeared, there was another presence there that took him away. John insists his scanners must have been out of kilter somehow because there wasn't anybody else there. As usual, the robot will let himself be shouted down. They cross that dry ice bridge again until they come to the spot where it intersects with our dimension.
You did it!
We're very lucky, son.
Was it just a matter of chance, Professor Robinson?
And what's that supposed to mean?
It was merely a thought.
And we'd better check your tapes also. You're not programmed for thinking.
That's exactly what he's programmed for. They're back and everyone's elated.
Well, I think this rates a celebration.
Oh, could we? I'll get my tape recorder and we'll have some music.
And as an extra treat, we can use some of the reserve food supplies.
Well, why not? After all, it is a special occasion.
Now, we have no time for parties. We must make our repairs and leave.
Why? What's the hurry? I mean, you're back safely now. I think that calls for a celebration.
We can't waste the time. We must leave immediately.
Don't you have another guy that you need to get out of that place?
You know, if I didn't know better, John, I'd say you were acting like a man on the run.
Yes, I guess you're right. I am a little jumpy. This whole affair has had its effect on my nerves.
Well, there's nothing better for a case of nerves than a good party. Come on.
Usually, when a husband and wife talk about a party, nobody else is invited. I wonder what the other John thinks of that. The robot doesn't feel like celebrating, but his processes are still trying to sort out what happened and what's going on now. He knows something is out of whack, but he can't calculate what.
Well, now that we've all had our fill of fun and food, I suggest we get back to work.
Work? Madam, you must excuse me. I shall retire to my quarters and meditate.
Remain here.
Smith, your shift starts in a half hour.
Sit down, John. You know he always gets away with it. Do you want to upset the balance of the universe again?
Evidently, you didn't understand me, Major. There's no half hour. Get to work immediately.
John, that's no way to talk.
When I want your advice, I'll ask for it. Don't you and Judy have something to do in the galley?
John,
Well, do it.
He won't be having any parties tonight. Don pounces on him for that, and John relents. It's taking him a while to realize that his counterpart in this world isn't an overbearing jerk.
Look, I've seen that other place. I know the horrors of it. I know how close it is and how it threatens us.
There's this other guy in there, has a beard, ugly as sin, and twice as mean. You sure don't want him coming through.
And I'm gonna drive everyone in this group, myself included, to make all necessary repairs and leave here as soon as possible.
I think Will is still harboring some questions, but he'll keep them to himself for now. But here's something he can add to them.
Smith and I will tape out. Well, I'll be. My watch is running backwards.
So is Will's watch, and so is Penny's tape player. Almost like there's something in the area that's influencing things to be opposite. But there's no time to think about that. Let's get back to work.
Haven't you finished working on that condenser yet? What's taking you so long?
Can't we finish dismantling this weather station in the morning?
We haven't got that much to do. If we finish tonight, we can devote the morning to getting the ship ready for pre-launch.
What's the hurry? A couple of more days on this planet won't make much difference. Come on, let's call it a night.
Stay until you're finished, understand?
There's something John wouldn't do, and Don is starting to figure it out.
Take it easy, will you?
I'll take it easy when we're off this planet. Now get back to work.
Look, John, I know you've had a rough time of it, but that doesn't give you the right to lean on me.
You're shiftless, you're lazy, and you're worthless. Just like your opposite.
He is planning on leaving opposite Don there. He doesn't even like him. He changes his tone when he realizes the mistake he made, but our Don's wheels are turning. So are Will's. He can't sleep and he's having a late-night brainstorming session with the robot.
Have you noticed that even in strong sunlight, he casts no shadow?
You're saying he's a vampire?
No, I hadn't noticed that.
Penny's tape recorder, your watch, and Major West's watch, too.
Are you trying to say he isn't my father?
He is, and then again, he is not.
I'm sorry, that's way too detailed. Please be more vague.
I suspect that the man you believe to be your father is in reality an antimatter John Robinson from an antimatter world.
I can't escape the feeling that Antimatter John would be a great name for a progressive rock band. Will says, you're right, that explains everything. We have to go back to that antimatter world and rescue my father. I would say the robot protests that it's dangerous and they end up going anyway, but by now everybody assumes that part. What they don't know is Antimatter John heard them. Either they never developed lasers in his world, or it's been so long he thinks that is a laser. And he's right. When he pointed it at the rocks and pushed the button, the robot chased the red dot around for the next 4 hours.
Remember, when you get to the antimatter world, wait for me. I will only be a moment behind you.
Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere alone if I can help it.
Stop!
Hurry, activate the engines!
You wouldn't think just beating him with a metal stick like that would do any serious damage to the robot, but he manages to knock the robot over and jump into the machine himself. Moments later, Don and Smith come along and help the robot head after them. Naturally, Smith can't shut up.
Activate the atomic engine, Major. Major, activate the atomic engine.
You don't believe him, do you? You, sir, stop this idiocy at once, do you hear?
Activate it, Major. Major, activate it, now.
One more word out of you!
I do wonder if Major West did that on purpose. I know I probably would. Will has reached the antimatter world and is on his way to rescue his father. Just as soon as someone rescues him, Matter John is in a cage with some kind of alien jailer watching over him. Antimatter John tells Will, you're coming back with me, and if you open your mouth and I'm caught, then your real father dies. How he would communicate those things to this world to have his orders carried out, he won't explain, and Will is too intimidated to think of asking. For now, he'll go along with it.
You wait here.
Why? He's more than enough guard for the prisoner.
You can't leave here till I bring back your duplicate.
Let me go with you and help get him back here.
I don't need any help. Come.
He'll go along with it, but I have a feeling Antimatter Don is starting to ponder some questions of his own. I know a lot of things are topsy-turvy in this world, but why didn't the robot detect Will's presence?
Do you really think he's going to come back here for you?
I said that's enough of that.
Sure, that's enough. I can just see him going to a whole lot of trouble to bring back your duplicate.
He will, I know he will!
As I said, he's pondering some questions. John is helping.
Sure he will. And by the time you wake up to the fact that you've been double-crossed, he'll be at least 2 galaxies away from here.
I said for you to shut up! Shut up!
My mistake? John is hitting a nerve. He keeps goading until Antimatter Don can't take it anymore. He opens the cage, intending to beat Matter John like he's never been beaten before. I think it's safe to say that John has never been beaten like that before. The jailer isn't going down so easily. This may require help.
Thanks, Robot. Just in time. I'm going after Will and that antimatter man.
That was convenient. The two John Robinsons will meet on the interdimensional bridge and have it out. if you find my cell phone down there, could you just toss it back up? I was trying to take a picture of those big red eyes down there. Never mind. If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.